listening to the sweet sounds of the After Movie Diner. Support us at patreon.com/After Movie Diner. Or I'll punch you in the teats. Rate and review us on iTunes, Earthling. And now, here's your host, Jon Cross.
Can everybody hear me at the back?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. I can hear Owen and I can hear Jay Mayo. It's a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Mr. Cross.
Well, yes, you say that now.
Why, are you going to trash me on this episode?
No, but just wait till we've trawled through this film.
through the muck that is this film.
Yeah. How are we both feeling? Owen, did the incurable sickness that you felt that you might come down with that might hinder tonight's episode, did that attack, or are you more or less okay?
No, I'm good. I got up. I had a shit. I'm ready to go.
Nice. That's how Owen does it, ladies and gentlemen. It's 8 o'clock at night. Owen gets up, he takes a shit, and then he's ready to podcast. And what a joy that is. All right, well, hello and welcome to the After Movie Diner. And on this episode, we are, well, it's kind of okay what's going on right now. I would say that we're overly excited and we're super pumped and our energy is really high, but we have Owen on the show, so I'm going to keep it down. I'm going to keep it lower. I'm going to keep it more of an even keel. I'm not going to get so excited because that's not Owen's style. But you know him from the Bride of Chickenstein podcast. You also know him from Psychotronic Coast to Coast. You also know him from his incredibly popular Bigfoot review blogs on the After Movie Diner. That's right. It's your pal and mine, Owen. How do you pronounce your last name, sir? Durivage, is that it?
Nah, close enough.
How do you pronounce it?
Durivage. You don't say the I.
Durivage.
Yep.
All right. Well, sir, a pleasure. Did I miss any credentials that you have that I didn't pimp?
I have a YouTube too, but that's all right.
Okay. He has a YouTube as well. All the links will be provided in the episode description. And also on the line, basically Owen's new best friend and Bigfoot music video compatriot, and formerly of the Behemoth Legacy podcast, Hold the Mayo. It's none other than the delightful mid-Massachusetts man himself. That's right. Jay Mayo's on the line. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
He's all American, and he's in Massachusetts. It's Jay Mayo. Yes, indeed. I'm not planning any of this, but I'm just going with it anyway.
You certainly are.
And why have we compiled this, some might say, crack squad of bizarrely toned movie reviewers tonight? Well, I'll tell you why. Who is moving around and shifting furniture?
Sorry, it's my kittens.
Look at that, with the damn kittens already invading the podcast. So it's all right. We're an animal-loving podcast here, Owen, so it's fine. Your kittens can run amok as they see fit. I might just have to edit you out of the show. Anyway, why have we assembled this crack squad of insane movie podcast hosts? Well, it's because it's Sleazy Spader Springtime. Hit that Sleazy Spader jingle. Oh, it's Sleazy Spader Springtime. Welcome to the show. Oh, it's a Sleazy Spader Springtime. I want you all to know that if you please, there's James Spader Sleaze and it's got nowhere else to go. So loosen all your blouses, give your nose a damn good blow. 'Cause now we're coming clean, oh yeah. It's 2019, Sleazy Spader Springtime Show. Oh yeah, it is 2019, Sleazy Spader Springtime Show. There it goes. And we are covering the film Alien Hunter. Gentlemen, what was your first experience with sleazy James Spader before, obviously, this film?
All right. I have not seen very many of his movies, actually, but as a kid, I seen Mannequin.
Mannequin. He is excellent in Mannequin. It's one of his few kind of almost Python-esque comedic roles. In other films, he's always has to be sort of slightly dangerous, slightly edgy, slightly perverted, or indeed like the handsome, ruggish, waifish kind of boy next door type character. However, in Mannequin, he gets to just be completely over the top and joyously comedic, and it's always a wonder to behold. Jay Mayo, when did you first come across the slithering sleazy spades?
To be completely honest, I'm not really 100% sure when he slid all up in my life. I can say I do remember watching Sex, Lies, and Videotape at some point as a much younger man. But I must admit, the vast majority of James Spader movies I have not seen. However, I know him best from the 1.5 seasons or so he was on The Office. And that's when he really took hold, and I was like, oh, who is this creepy motherfucker? And that's when I started going back and watching a small handful of his filmography, including but not limited to today's release, which I will let you describe, because if I do, I don't think the listeners will want to listen to the rest of this episode.
Well, they won't believe it, for starters. They just won't believe it. They won't believe it when I tell the story either. However, yes, we are covering 2003's Alien Hunter. I don't know much about it in terms of how it came out, when it came out. I presume it was either a Sci-Fi Channel movie and or a straight-to-video movie and or both. I don't have many details on it. Owen, if you have any details that explain further why this movie is a movie, then please do just pipe up when you feel like it. However, yes, it's Alien Hunter, and I was just about to say, Jay, based on the fact that you know, people, I feel like they know spades from specific places. People are either fans of Boston Legal, or they're fans of the Brat Pack movies, or they're fans of The Office, or they're fans of Mannequin. You know, there's sort of a handful of, or you know, Sex, Lies, and Videotapes, or Secretary. So his like prime perverted work, like his top notch, you know, V-neck sweater wearing, you know, slithery madness. I think people know him from those touchstones. But there is a wealth of Spader outside of those kind of tentpoles. And that's where the after-movie diner Sleazy Spader Springtime comes in. We're filling in those cracks, much like Spader likes to fill in every crack he finds. And that's why I do this. Every year, I roll out 4 more episodes of Sleazy Spader Springtime. And so far, we're into our 4th year, I still say, why not? Let's do it. Let's have a ball. Despite having many gut punches throughout our journey through Spader's B-movie career, I still struggle on like a man trying to climb atop an Everest, only it's an Everest of soiled underwear. Anyway, let's talk about Alien Hunter. Alien Hunter is a movie in which James Spader plays a linguist and language professor who, of course, not only has a controversy in his past where he bed down with a student, but when we first see him talking with a class of people at a university, there is another student, a much younger woman in the crowd, who is texting him all about sex as well. So from the get-go, even though it plays little to no part in the film's sort of main plot, from the get-go, James Spader is demanding that every single woman in the film wants to sleep with him. And why not? If you can write that in your contract, why wouldn't you? So anyway, they have discovered a sort of ice-bound alien thing in the Antarctic. And the Antarctic is the South Pole, right? I'm
Correct.
Arctic
Yes.
and Antarctic, right? I remember that from geography. from high school geography. Anyway, they've found an alien in the ice in Antarctic, all very The Thing. There is a bunker down there where they're trying to do sort of renewable farming kind of thing. They're sort of growing crops and wheat and stuff inside in under heat lamps and stuff. And they're down there in the South Pole doing that because, of course, if you want to test how to grow crops inside, the only place to do that is the South Pole. You really have to get away from everybody. And shock and surprise, but James Spader's old paramour, the one that got him in the deep shit to begin with, is down there in the bunker. James Spader is sent down there by his university because it is emitting a kind of code or language that he is to interpret in his capacity as a professor of language. There's clearly no one else on the planet that can do this except James Spader. And, of course, there's no one else on the planet that he's going to bump into except the woman that he once had an affair with. Cue a bunch of people in this bunker looking at the alien, doing all the things they shouldn't do to and with the alien, much against Spader's always correct assumptions and correct prognosis, and Spader sort of slithers his way around, trying not to just have sex with absolutely every woman down there. It's a sort of combination of The Thing, Sex, Lies, and Videotapes, and what was that movie recently with Amy Adams where they are trying to teach the alien to read? What was that one called? Arrival. It's sort of a bit like that as well. But if it was done on a late 90s, early 2000s Sci-Fi Channel budget, back when the Sci-Fi Channel was the Sci-Fi Channel and not the Sci-Fi Channel.
It seemed like the Sci-Fi Channel borrowed some money from the Discovery Channel and TLC to make this movie, because you could tell they obviously had to pay Spader quite a bit just to be in the movie. And there was a ton of CGI. It was bad CGI, but there was a ton of CGI. And it looked like they actually put a little bit of money into this movie. Now, I didn't even know that it was released. I don't remember it being in the theater or anything. So I'm assuming it either went straight to TV or straight to DVD at that time. But yeah, it did look like the Sci-Fi Channel kind of thing. Like if you turn on the Sci-Fi Channel now and watch any of the movies that they're running currently that are fair to poor quality, this fits in with them pretty well, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, it's more akin to a movie that the only other one that I've kind of seen from the era, because nowadays Sci-Fi Channel movies tend to be made by like The Asylum or one of those gang, and they tend to be made sort of either slightly tongue-in-cheek or in the vein of the old Roger Corman monster movies, which were just, oh, what's popular right now? Jurassic Park, New World, or whatever it's called. Let's just make that, but we'll call it something different, like, I don't know, Dinosaur Park 5 or something. And obviously they've had their recent hit with the Sharknado series, which also comes off the back of like Sharktopus and movies like that. So they've kind of moved very, very heavily into sort of just the CGI monster movie. And most of them are sort of tinged with that kind of tongue-in-cheek thing. This one, however, Alien Hunter, kind of fits more into a movie that Bruce Campbell did around about the same time, and this was definitely for the Sci-Fi Channel, called Terminal Invasion, which is basically The Thing, but in a small, I think, Maine airport. Either Maine or one or maybe even a Canadian airport. It's up in the snow anyway, and a plane has to land with a criminal on it, the criminal played by Bruce Campbell, and then there's an alien invasion in this small airport. It very much in the vein of The Thing. So this was sort of what, before the Sci-Fi Channel went full sort of Sharknado, Sharktopus, Lava Lantula, all those kind of films. They were doing the alien invasion films back in the early 2000s, back when they were sci-fi. And yes, according to Wikipedia, this was definitely a Sci-Fi Channel movie. So, Owen, I feel like you might have been watching a lot of these back in the day. Were you a Sci-Fi Channel film nerd or not really?
Not too much. I tune in every now and then. I usually watch the badder ones you talk about with the CGI monsters.
But did you see, like, if I say Terminal Invasion, would you know what that one was? Were you ever a Campbell fan or not?
Yes, but I had not seen that one. I've seen the cover.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the sort of first time I came across these kind of movies. They normally have one star, meaning one actor in there that is sort of relatively well known. And let's just see, what was Spader doing around about this time that found him slumming it in a sci-fi film production? Let's just see, early 2000s.
Well, I mean, he's James Spader, so you know he was fucking either way.
Well, yeah, he's always fucking. That's just the way it is. What's weird about this is that Spader never seems to dial in or ride the wave of his successes, meaning Secretary, one of his most popular films, comes out in 2002, and you would think he would go off and do a bunch of sort of indie darling movies, because Secretary was sort of the indie darling of its day. It was sort of the Lost in Translation, or one of those sort of mid-indie, mid-budget movies that kind of has a unconventional love affair in it that sort of makes it big. There's normally one about every 8 to 10 years. And Secretary was it. He did that in 2002, and instead of kind of riding that wave and going off and doing a bunch more indie films, he goes right back to what he was doing before Secretary, which was Supernova, The Watcher, Slow Burn, a lot of genre film, and goes right on with The Stick Up, The Pentagon Papers, which is another TV movie, Eyewitness, which was the one we covered last week, if you're listening to the podcast in order, and then Alien Hunter. And then the same year as Alien Hunter, he gets the series The Practice, which would lead him to Boston Legal the year after this. But the movies he continues to do are just... they're just these sort of slightly kind of mid-range budget genre things. I mean, he does Lincoln and he does Age of Ultron later on, but he's mostly TV throughout the early 2000s. So that is this Alien Hunter thing is his third TV movie in a row. So it is what it is. He did not capitalize on Secretary. He just went straight ahead and did whatever he could. And why not, if you get to hang out in a bunker talking to a CGI alien while all the women try and have sex with you?
How much of that, John, do you think is Spader saying to himself, I can either sit around and wait for the work to come to me, or I can just take whatever they're handing to me? Because, like with this movie, he's the lead. So why wouldn't he take, a mid-budget, straight to TV movie, especially being the lead? I mean, I would think that must factor in.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I forget what it is, but I think I've heard James Spader basically say in the past that he takes the work when he needs the money. And if he doesn't need the money, he doesn't take the work. I don't know if that's still the case by the time the 2000s roll around, because he seems to be working pretty much every single year. There's no like gaps in his resume. Once he hits like 2000, he's just working every single year. And maybe he just wasn't being offered sort of bigger budget leading roles. Maybe he didn't want to be an action hero. He's not like, he's not running around shooting things or jumping over things or whatever. And it's sort of gone past the time of those kind of Tarantino style crime drama films that they were making in the 90s. He doesn't really do horror films per se. He doesn't do like slashers or anything. So maybe he just doesn't fit into any of the things that are being made at the time. And he just, as you say, takes what he can. And like you said, it's a leading role. Why not? Leading role. Yeah. He just has to show up and sleaze his way on through. So Owen, let's go to you briefly. What was your first takeaway from this film? What was your first opinion on this film after you finished it?
It wasn't very high. It was...
So like your energy then?
I guess so. It was very Alien. Like they were trying to go for Alien / The Thing. But it just didn't... It's not as compelling as either of those two.
Were you even mildly amused at the sexual undercurrent that was completely pointless and yet forced into almost every scene in the movie.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, all the female scientists are young and attractive, which I noticed right off the bat. I was like, okay. And then one of them is like, as soon as he gets there, and she's just like, let's take a shower together. And he's like, nah, I'm good.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to bring that up later, but that was the most random scene I've ever seen in a Spader film. That felt so forcibly like even the actress delivering the line looked awkward, like looked put out to have to be saying this to him. But you start the movie with him being this language professor in this thing with this woman like batting her eyes at him, and then you see that she's texting him like she texts him on like a very early kind of like cell phone beeper thing, and it just says I want you now or something. I have to have you right now. And the subject line of the message is just sex. Which is tremendous. That she would bother, like she's typing this message. She's like, oh yeah, I have to put a subject line in this thing. So she just writes sex in case people hadn't realized what she was talking about, which is amazing. But then beyond that, like you say, when you get down to the bunker in the Antarctic, they're all young, hot doctors. Of course, there's the woman that he'd had an affair with previously that got him kicked out of another university or off a different project or some backstory that is, again, woefully irrelevant to the plot of this film. But then there's this other one that people keep saying, oh, watch out for him. He's going to try and sleep with you. And she just walks up to him while he's like trying to decipher a code and just goes, well, I'm going to go get undressed and take a shower. Do you want to join me? Like out of nowhere. It was just so splendidly awkward and random. The reason why I keep saying it doesn't play into the plot is that, essentially the action is that they cut open an alien pod that they shouldn't cut open. And then it just goes like through a stream of mad consciousness, where on one hand the alien kills half the people in the crew, but then James Spader is about to make friends with the alien, and then they kill the alien, and then the government is about to nuke the site. So then they all have to then it just becomes this whole it just goes from it's literally someone writing a script where they're like, all right, this happens, then that happens, then this happens, then that happens, and none of it is really tied to each other, really in any kind of way. There's a neat idea about kind of this virus or whatever it is that the alien kind of kills some people and other people kind of just carry it. But outside of that, really, there's not much going on. Jay, what was your experience with Alien Hunter?
All right. So first and foremost, I have to confess that I fell asleep towards the end of this movie. It was that bad. So I did have to go back and watch it for a second time, which I do not recommend. Okay. Now that that's out of the way. What it seemed like to me, on the whole, since we're speaking about Spader, on the whole, it felt like
in the hole,
around the hole. Anyway, it seemed like someone went to the Sci-Fi Channel and said, "Hey, what if we mix Alien with The Thing?" And they're like, "Yeah, that sounds good. Go with it." And that's all. That's as far as they thought about it. And then it came time to film the movie, and they're like, "So, James, what are your thoughts on this?" And he's like, "Well, I have some ideas. Every woman in the world wants to fuck me, including the only 5 in Antarctica. So definitely that's going to be it. But also, every woman in this movie wants to fuck me." And they're like, "Yeah, that seems a bit of a stretch there, James." And he's like, "Well, hey, listen, you hired me, so this is the way it's going to go. You know what you're getting when Spader shows up. Everybody wants to fuck."
Yeah.
The other thing that really threw me off was clearly most of this movie, if not none of this movie, was shot in America, because there was really bad overdubs for a lot of the characters that are in this movie.
It was all shot in either Bulgaria or Eastern Europe or the Ukraine. If you look at the ending credits, almost everybody's name ends with OV. There's a lot of, Doblemov, Popolamov,
Right.
Romanov. Like, almost the entire... I did a video on Instagram where I was like, let's play Spot the OV. And as it rolled through the end credits, I'm like, there's one, there's another one, there's another one. Like, yeah, it was definitely filmed in Bulgaria or somewhere like that at this time.
The other things that I want to point out is, hey, great casting choice in putting American Olympic gold medalist Carl Lewis in this movie. Good for him. I didn't know Carl Lewis acted. So that was a bit of a surprise. I don't know if he's ever been in anything else, but I mean, I thought he did a very good job. The other thing that really stood out to me was clearly when they were writing this movie, they were like, okay, Spader can decipher all these crazy codes and so he's going to be the expert. But it seemed like everybody that was in this pod or whatever it was, deep underground, this research facility, everybody there was some sort of super science expert, but they all seemed to know bits and pieces that helped Spader along the way. It seemed way too obvious. Carl Lewis pointed out, like, oh, maybe it's a beacon. And then all of a sudden, Spader could figure out exactly what the aliens were saying. Like, it was way too obvious, and it seemed much too suspicious. And, of course, the one thing that drives me completely insane in almost every movie, which is technical inaccuracies when it comes to firearms. That fucking Irish guy shot his pistol about 97 times without reloading, and that drives me bonkers. And I know most movies do it, and it's a movie. I get it. Not everything has to be 100% accurate to real life. I mean, let's face it. They're killing aliens, so obviously this isn't necessarily the most accurate to real life thing. But there was a lot of glaring details that were like, what the hell is going on here, that really stood out to me. But really the biggest thing for me was the fact that James Spader wrote into the plot of this movie that every woman that is on screen wants to fuck me, and they went with it, and they aired this on Sci-Fi.
Yeah, the only downside to it is that unlike his other science fiction film that he made, Supernova, where he does get to get with the fucking, in this movie he doesn't get with the fucking. There's not even a hint of fucking in the movie. Not even some.
Disagree, John. I disagree. He wrote it into that movie that woman had to be naked when she was in the farm community area. And then they were like, well, we can't air this on Sci-Fi. So then they had to put her in like the slinkiest little swimsuit-esque kind of thing.
Don't get me wrong, Jay Mayo. There were nipples. They were clothed nipples, but everyone, I mean, look, it's Antarctica, so it's cold, but even still, everyone who came in contact with Spader was nippily erect. That's to be expected. And yes, that figure hugging white, barely a swimsuit that she was wearing when she went to like I don't know, gather pollen or whatever she was doing, was ludicrously and overtly sexual. But what I mean is James Spader doesn't make the beast with two backs at any point in this film. Well, certainly not that we see on screen. You know, he might have done it, but I don't feel like he was in Antarctic long enough. But then I'm sure that's never stopped Spader before. But we certainly don't hear about it, and he does turn down the naked showering. So I don't know.
Yeah, I can only imagine what ended up on the cutting room floor. I guarantee there was at least 2 sex scenes in this movie that they're like, I don't know about that.
Either that or we all missed the post-credit sequence where when they get beamed up to the alien planet, he just starts making with the fucking with anything that's even remotely got a pulse. Like
I fell asleep during that part, so there's no way I saw that.
There's like a post-credit sequence where it's just a James. It's like the end of the horror movie Society, where they have that big rich orgy and all the people are melting into each other. The end credit sequence of this movie is probably that. That's probably the hidden scene is just Spader engulfed in flesh for like half an hour. So Owen, favorite scenes. I want to get on and talk about the Irish dude, but let's just talk favorite scenes in the film. Anything in the film that redeemed it before we talk about the Irish dude who sunk it. Anything in the film that redeemed it, dude?
I don't know about redeemed it, but I think we need to be fair to the alien. It didn't actually physically kill anybody. It seemed pretty harmless. It just happened to have a disease, hence why it was in the pod to begin with that they opened, and they shouldn't have. And then the disease is what killed people in terrible CGI, by the way. Right.
But I mean, you are right in that. Yes, if I didn't clearly point this out before, the alien is, to all intents and purposes, a good alien. The message that it is beaming out of its pod is, please do not open the pod. It knows that it is infected, and it knows that it would spread that infection against its will if the pod was open. However, thanks to the Irish guy, they do go ahead and open the pod. Again, we'll get to the Irish guy. Anything else that redeemed it for you as a movie, Owen?
No.
And I wanted to ask you, obviously anyone who follows either of us on Twitter knows that you have been desperate to be on the After Movie Diner these many years, many months, many years, however long it's been now at this point. Now that you're finally on the show, are you excited?
Sure, I haven't really said much, but I'm on it.
Well, that's on you, Owen. It's not like you don't have the opportunity. You're here in the big leagues. It's time to step it up.
I blame you, Jay.
Everyone always does, buddy.
So, like I say, I will give you one more chance, Owen, if there's anything you want to say, and then we're going to get on to talk about the Irish guy.
I mean, if you're talking about redeeming from the movie, then I have nothing more to say.
Nothing more to say. Okay, well, let's talk about the Irish guy then. What was your feeling about the Irish guy? For me, he was like the painful, infected tooth of this movie. What about for you?
Yeah, he was, right off the bat, he's a douchebag. I mean, they're all scientists, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what he is. I mean, he could be a farmer for all I know. But, yeah.
I assume they're all scientists, and here's this amazing discovery, and he's just like, space junk, rah, and just like leaves it. He doesn't want anything to do with it. And then they melt it, because it's an ice, and shows it's like this pod you've never seen. He's just like an asteroid. Like, he has no interest in studying this amazing thing. It's emitting like translation and stuff, and he's just like, man, whatever, I want to grow corn.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what? Why is he there? I mean, I guess to grow corn, but you think
at one point
they'd
he
all
says,
be amazed.
He says, you don't get a Nobel Peace Prize. Oh no, you don't get a Nobel Prize for dissecting an asteroid or something like that. And I'm like, well, I don't know. It depends what's in the asteroid. Maybe you would. And also, are you only in Antarctica on the off chance you might win the Nobel Prize? Like that was bizarre. Like Nobel Prize for bad 90s sweaters, maybe, but that's about it.
For growing corn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, sustainable farming, that's something we need. But again, if you're doing it for the prize and not for the feeding humanity reasons, then again, you're just a massive douchehole. And but you're right. Nobody behaved like a scientist. In anything, and none of them, even the old Russian dude, didn't really behave like a scientist, other than he like schlepped about in cardigans, drinking mugs of tea, and telling people they probably shouldn't be doing what they're doing. But I mean, outside of that, none of them behaved like scientists. And to be fair, no more than anyone in the Thing behaves like a scientist or whatever they're meant to be doing down there, research or whatever in the Thing. Like no one in the Thing behaves that way either. But aside from that, like you say, you're very right. In the Irish dude just naysays everything. Like he could literally be like, James Spader could put a baseball cap on and he could be like, I like the Raiders or whatever. And he's like, no, you don't. They're not a football team. That's not a hat. Like he would negate anything you just said.
Yeah, I think they were going for that he was jealous because obviously he knew I don't know if he was supposed to be with the girl that Spader was with at one point, but it just seemed like he was just trying to naysay everything because he was just jealous.
I mean, he's the character that a not very good screenwriter puts in so that he can kind of either cause unnecessary conflict. Because again, Spader's backstory, which was meant to be like, oh, this is his last chance to redeem himself, but we're going to put him in this bunker with his former love, and their chemistry is going to be, too unbearable, and it's going to create tension and all this stuff. Like, that was kind of what the plot was meant to be. But when he gets down there, there's no tension. And so the writer's like, well, just to add to the tension, let's have this Irish idiot that could be dating her, could not be dating her, could want to date her, may have had a thing with her, whatever. But either way, he's the alpha male conflict with James Spader for no good reason, because the tension in the film is not about James Spader being down in this bunker with someone that might ruin his career and this is his last chance. The tension comes from the fact that they unleash an alien with a disease. So all that other stuff that you've built up about like James Spader's backstory is completely irrelevant. So get rid of all of it. Get rid of the Irish guy, get rid of the woman, just have Spader just start the movie with Spader in Antarctica finding an alien. None of the other stuff is relevant.
But if they didn't put that other stuff in, then it literally is just the thing. Like, there is no difference. Like, there is no difference between the two movies if you just start him there. If they didn't have the Roswell, New Mexico, 1947 stuff before all of that, and then Spader teaching the college course where the 19-year-old girl is like, hey, let's go fuck, then it literally is the same. You have a word for word, shot for shot, same exact movie as the thing.
What about when he goes into the dean's office at the beginning of the movie after the scene where the lady has texted him and said she wants to have sex with him, and he goes, I've got to talk to you, whatever his name is, Alan or whatever, I've got to talk to you, and he's like, look, let me tell you about this young girl that wants to fuck me. And he's like, yeah. I don't need to know about the young girl that wants to fuck you. Like, that's literally a scene in this film where the dean of his college goes, oh, don't worry about fucking a student. Just don't tell me about it. Like,
I need to tell you about something. Oh, you mean the student that I'm fucking? Oh, no, I don't want to know about that.
I mean, who wrote that? That's amazing.
And how many times did they have to say out loud, listen, we all know about your storied past. Yeah. Like, you don't have to say that over and over again.
We all know that you're a virile male who has been down on more things than he can count. But yeah, no, it's the whole first act of the movie. Like I say, if the tension came from, I only have one chance. Like, if you set this up, right, and all the women want to fuck him, and he gets to Antarctica, and he's just trying to do his work, and while he's trying to do his work, all these women are trying to fuck him. And the tension is born out of him being like, no, I can't fuck you. This is my last chance. If I fuck him, I'm thrown off the case, and I have to go, I don't know, live in a hut in Tibet or something. Wherever he would go, this is his last chance. Like, that would be fine, but they introduced this Irish turd ball to be like the conflict creator within the film. And it gets to the point where, as we said, half the fucking people are killed by the alien disease. The other half are immune to some extent from the effects. And when Spader's like, look, we all might still be infected, so let's just lock this thing down. Yes, they're sending a nuke to kill us, but like, we can't get out of here anyway. So, this is our fate, and this is what we should do, and da-da-da-da-da. The Irish guy, out of nowhere, stabs a dude in the neck with a fork and, like, shoots a bunch of other people. And then even as he's running through the hayfield and all the hay around him is dying because he is infected with the disease. And people are like, look, you were right. We were right. You are infected with the disease and da-da-da. Even at that point, the Irish guy's still like, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to run out there and infect the whole world. Like, he runs out of the cornfield. And then there's the weirdest ending of all time where there's an alien force field that turns out to be an alien, like, transportation device to either their planet or their spaceship or whatever. And if you stay still and breathe slowly, you'll survive. If you like shout a little bit and move around a little bit, it kills you. Like, what was that?
The best part is that Spader knew that. Spader says, slow down your breathing, don't move. And the guy was like, fuck that, I'm trying to run away, but I can't breathe.
Right.
But how the fuck would Spader know not to run through the force field and to breathe slowly?
Because he's James Spader, that's why. Owen, in that situation, you would have probably been fine, right? You would have been able to have just stayed calm and on the level and not been killed.
Oh, absolutely. I would have stayed in the bunker and got nuked.
You would have stayed in the... Well, you would... What I would do if I was Spader is, and I'm surprised this wasn't in the movie, is I would have been like, seeing as we're this close to death, and there's me and a woman left, why don't we, get on the good foot and do the bad thing? That's what I would have assumed he was going to do. Like in the corridor when they're gingerly touching fingers, I was like, go on, just have at it with each other, why don't you?
Maybe he knew the ship was coming and he didn't want his breathing to be escalated during the sex, so he had to stay calm. He's like, no sex, I need to be calm when the ship comes.
when the alien force field comes down outside the bunker, I can't be aroused, otherwise I'll die. Do you think that as they were being beamed up to the spaceship, Spader, because he grabs hold of her hand, right, and they go up together? Do you think he cops a feel at that point? Do you think he's finally safe?
Maybe. I know the one that was after him was eviscerated when the pod was open, so I guess he's like, I guess I'll go back to this other one that I've been with before.
Yeah, I feel like they could have expanded that whole we have a past and we have chemistry thing. They seem to introduce this other woman who wanted to take showers with him.
And then killed her off.
Killed her off. Yeah, right. Out of nowhere. It was also so random the way they killed all the characters off in this thing. So, outside of obviously things like the Alien and things like the Thing, which are sort of easy comparisons to make, are there any other kind of low-budget sci-fi or made-for-TV movies, Owen, that you've seen that you would recommend either over this or that are similar to this?
Not a movie, but there's a X-Files episode, which is like the Thing, and it's a lot like this, where there's I think it's a worm that goes into people and makes them murderers.
I remember that episode. That was a creepy episode. That's like season 1 or season 2, I think. It's early on anyway.
Yeah, and they do the same thing, like, we can't leave, and then there's someone like, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, the way the Irish guy was written and the way he played it was just so unfortunate. I wish they'd cast anyone but him and written it any better than that. So other things, Owen, about the film that you didn't like, or other things that you think we should be talking about?
Well, I've actually had it playing in the background, so I can say one nice thing. The alien, as little as you saw it, looked pretty good. Yeah, it wasn't CGI. It was actually like a suit. Yeah.
I think there's even like a behind-the-scenes shot of this film that I found somewhere where you can see the monster.
Well, I actually bought the movie, so I actually have... I didn't watch them like you wanted me to, but making of... There's a director's commentary.
There's a making of on your DVD version of this?
Yeah, making of featurette.
Wow.
Location scouting.
Wow. I have it on DVD, but I have it as part of a Spader threesome, and it doesn't have any supplemental features.
It even has deleted scenes. Maybe the sex scenes are on there.
Seriously, wow. Yeah, I'm looking at some of the behind-the-scenes shot on IMDb, and what's surprising is that the behind-the-scenes photography from this film is way better than the photography in the actual movie. That's what's incredible about it. And like you say, yes, it was a physical man in a suit, rubber alien. So that's fantastic. There's also a still in here where there are two people, I think the woman and the helicopter pilot or the plane pilot or whatever he was, the big chin dude, and they're sitting in a room that's literally called Den of Love with like hearts and stuff on the wall. Was that in the movie and did I miss it?
I don't remember that part.
Was there a Den of Love in this movie? I mean, Spader's bunk, clearly, but like, that's so weird.
I mean, anytime James Spader is around, you can just assume any room he's in is called the Den of Love.
Yeah.
But I don't remember a specific scene where that was referenced.
But I have to say, it's the sort of film that I kind of wish I'd started sooner or I'd moved to Europe or something like that, because it's the kind of film where if I did like third fiddle from the left kind of roles in films like this for the rest of my life, I would be so happy. Like I would so be in these films. Do you know what I mean? Like these kind of low budget alien films. I would love to do that. Just be, third dude from the left in a hat that gets killed or something. Like I don't need to be Spader. I just need to be in films like this. There are guys, expats who apparently live in Bulgaria who get in these films all the time. I wish I'd known back in the day. I would have done it.
Any of those guys that were trying to cut open the space pod or whatever it was, that get killed immediately.
Right.
Like that's a perfect role. Most of them didn't speak, and the very little bit that they did was just like, oh, I got to go change out the whatever. I'll be right back.
Right.
That's a perfect role.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of the role you play in Farley movies, Jay. You tend to play like the guy who just pops up in the background often.
Yeah. Walking around in the background, I have a line or two. It's not really integral to the plot, but you're always like, why is that guy always around?
Yeah, right. You're my favorite bit in Slingshot Cops is your reactions to things. Just it occasionally cuts when Charlie needs a cutaway. They cut to, if in doubt, cut to Jay Mayo. That's my favorite thing about Slingshot Cops. Well, I mean,
saying I'm the best thing in Slingshot Cops is a bit of an overstatement, but I do appreciate the sentiment.
It's not what I said, but...
I hear what I like to hear, John.
Of course. So a couple of things then before we get to the last part of the show, which is always the Sleazatorium, which I'll explain when we get there. But is there any reason to recommend this film to anyone? Owen?
If you have a need to see every alien movie ever made, yes.
Or if you're a fan of early 2000s Sci-Fi Channel before they changed their name to Sci-Fi or whatever they are now.
Yeah. And you like the early 2000s CGI.
Yeah. I mean, if you like Terminal Invasion, this one isn't bad either. It makes a good double bill with Terminal Invasion as far as like alien ripoffs go. Jay, would you recommend this to anyone?
Yeah, if you're a true American, you watch this movie for one reason and one reason only. Olympic gold medal winner Carl Lewis. End of story.
Okay. And that's true American, all-American Jay Mayo saying that. So heed his advice well. All right, so now we move over to the section of Sleazy Spader Springtime podcast where we talk about what is the item that James Spader would have taken off set and placed in his Sleazatorium. For people who are new to this concept and have not listened to the other 3 years worth of podcasts, let me quickly explain. Essentially, Jim and I, when we were doing these originally, decided that James Spader, in the basement of his house, has a Sleazatorium. In his Sleazatorium, he has a collection of artifacts, trinkets, props, costumes, whatever it is, from his films. He has one or two from each film. And they're never quite what you would think they are. Like, if he did a film with lots of dildos, he wouldn't have a dildo in it. He would find, like, the towel that he used to mop his brow in one scene or something. Like, it has to be, or like a pair of socks that he commented on in some scene that a woman was wearing or something like that. Like, it has to be, it's not obvious. It's never like just panties, you know what I mean? Like, it has to be something that is slightly insidious and slightly sleazy and slightly weird. So we always go around the guests and each of us pick something that Spader would have taken from the set of this film and would have today in his Sleazatorium, so that if you ever got to go into his dungeon sex lab, he would take you over to a corner, slither you over and say, now look at this, and would show you whatever the prop is from this film. So, Jay, let's start with you. What do you think James Spader took from this film and has today in his Sleazatorium?
Knowing that this question was coming, I did think about this for a little while. And at first, my initial thought was, well, obviously, it has to be that slinky little white swimsuit thing that woman wore. Clearly the Sci-Fi Channel was like, well, you can't go in there naked no matter what James says. I thought it should be that, but I think that's too on the nose. So this is my item that I think he puts in the Sleazatorium. It's his brown, like, suede jacket that he's wearing throughout most of the movie. And I'll tell you why. Because no matter if he's at University of California, Berkeley, or if he's in the Antarctic, this guy is wearing the best thing that he can wear for women to take a look at him and think, man, I have to fuck him. I got to rip that jacket off. So I think it would be his brown, I don't know, whatever, his suede jacket, well broken in. And he's like, man, this just hugs my body just right. So I think it's his brown jacket.
You think he takes his pimp jacket with him? That's a good call. A good call. Owen, what do you feel James Spader has in his Sleazatorium from this film?
The alien suit itself.
Yeah. I was thinking that he had just like the head, and he just occasionally like fucks it. But do you think he has the whole suit?
Yeah, the whole suit. Puts it on, does a little sexy dance.
Does he
it's still all like slimy from the movie.
Does he put it all on, like head to toe, or does he just put parts on? Like, does he just wear like the butt at some points, or just the feet or something?
Depending on how lazy he's being. Just parts, probably.
Just parts, probably. I'm looking at the alien suit now, and the hands and arms do have some wonderful, like, droopy appendages on them that one can only imagine what James Spader has dipped those into. I think the suit is definitely a good call, or at least part of the suit. He probably, like, when he has like a masquerade ball or something in his house, because I just imagine that that's the kind of thing James Spader does on a weekend. He probably opens the front door wearing nothing but just the alien head. And maybe
covers it in Vaseline to make it a little slimy.
Yeah, maybe he wears like goat leggings and the alien head. Like, maybe that's how he combines it.
Man, I bet you he doubles down and wears the alien head and that brown suede coat and nothing else.
And nothing else. He's just naked from the waist down. That's how Spader rolls. He covers up the nipples, but he's completely freeballing it all over the set. Yeah, I think that's probably right. I'm going to go with, just because there's an obscene photograph or trailer still of him sipping from it on IMDb. I'm going to go with the mug that has animals on it. I think it is that he's sipping from in around the table when the Irish guy tries to take the piss out of him, and he's not having any of it. Mainly because I feel like after he drank from it, he probably had it passed round all the ladies in the cast and the crew, and begged them to sip from it as well, while he took Polaroid pictures of them sipping from his cup. So I think he's probably taken the cup with him. That's probably my feeling with it. There weren't many other things in the film outside of the suit and the jacket that he would take. So if I had to pick anything, it would be the cup. Either that, or he has just the 2003 email beeper phone thing, or whatever that was that he got the text message on, and he just has that framed somewhere with the subject line of sex.
You know, they figured out how to somehow permanently affix that to the screen, and he's got that somewhere in his house.
Yeah, no, he definitely does. Either that, or every email James Spader sends The subject line is just sex.
Yeah, exactly.
And then if anyone says to him, wait a minute, James, why are you sending me an email where the subject line is sex? He's able to be like, oh, no, it's just a joke from my 2003 movie Alien Hunter. But really, you know what he's actually thinking.
Yeah, of course. Let's fuck.
All right, then, gents, we're coming up on the hour mark. Owen, any final thoughts about either Alien Hunter, James Spader, or being on the After Movie Diner?
Not much on Alien Hunter, other than the title is terrible because they don't hunt aliens at all. It's not even part of it.
Well, no, at one point they say he's a cryptologist or something like that, and the other guy goes, "Oh, an alien hunter." Like that happens in the film.
I guess it still needs a better title. That's clearly like trying to get you to take it off the shelf and trick you type title.
Right.
But
will you go on and watch any more James Spader films after this? Are you intrigued enough to delve into his oeuvre?
No. I might watch Mannequin again just to refresh my memory on it.
It's like the least the Mannequin is like the least sleazy Spader. He plays slimy, but he's not sleazy. He's sort of sleazy in another way. Like if that character did come onto a woman, it would be so unpleasant.
He wasn't even like the main, was he?
No. Andrew McCarthy is the main.
He's the one that falls in love with the mannequin.
He's the one who has sex with Kim Cattrall, who's really a mannequin. Yes. And you've got to believe that Spader, like I would almost argue that Mannequin is the movie where Spader is like, never again am I playing second sexual fiddle to Andrew McCarthy. From now on, I'm going to be the guy having unusual sex with things.
So he wasn't in Mannequin 2, you're saying?
No, he's not in Mannequin 2. But he should have been the lead in Mannequin 2. Anyone with their right mind should have made him the lead in Mannequin 2.
Just running from department store to department store trying to find a mannequin that'll come alive.
I don't think he even cares if they come alive. I think he just goes from department store to department store humping mannequins. In fact, they should make a Mannequin 3 35 years later or whatever it's been. Mannequin 3, Mannequin Humper, and it's just Spader goes from department store to department store humping mannequins. and everyone allows him to do this. Like, no one tries to stop him.
I think they should make a Lars and the Real Girl Part 2 where it's just Spader fucking a real doll the whole time. Just 90 straight minutes of Spader just having sex with a real doll.
While Ryan Gosling looks soulfully out a window.
Yeah, no, Gosling's outside the window in the rain, just staring in.
Oh, that's amazing! Yeah, Lars and the Real Girl, the model or pillow or mannequin or whatever she is in that movie, I forget, like a doll or whatever. She cheats on Ryan Gosling with James Spader in one of the most flagrantly R-rated, 18 rated, or NC-17 rated sex scene that goes on for a straight 90 minutes while Ryan Gosling weeps in the rain. Ryan
Gosling with a bad mustache stands outside in the rain like the saddest cuckold you've ever seen in your entire life.
Yeah. And but weirdly, about 70 minutes in, when he can cry no longer, he decides to touch himself.
You just see his arm slowly work its way downwards. You're like, oh, this is getting... I thought this was bad before, now it's getting real bad.
And maybe he starts to cry again as he touches.
Yeah, of course. That's when the tears really start flowing.
Oh, we just took this to a dark place. So, Owen, outside of Mannequin, no James Spader for you then? Not a fan?
Maybe I'll see him again in the Avenger movies.
And what about this experience of having been on the After Movie Diner after you begged for so many years? Has it finally been worth it? Do you feel sated? Do you feel satisfied?
A little far-fetched.
What's far-fetched?
Begged for years.
Well, okay, gently needled me then. How about that?
It was all right. I mean, you brought in Jay Mayo to cover me up mostly, but I'm okay with that.
I brought in Jay Mayo because he's your new best friend.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's true. I'm here for moral support.
And also because it's a great way for us to pimp Jay Mayo and Odilon Green, Seth's new album with their band, Owen's Best Friend or whatever it is. Isn't that right, Jay Mayo?
That's true. Owen's new best friend. You can actually stream it on Spotify if you'd like to hear it. It's called Dirty Magazines. It is available right now for streaming. You can listen for free. Just go to Spotify. We also have a Bandcamp account, Owen's New Best Friend. Check it out.
I purchased it.
But where's the Bigfoot album?
Well,
it's in process. We're currently working on a Bigfoot. See, here's the problem with naming your band after one of your friends is they get real demanding. We're currently in the works of recording a Bigfoot album because if you're going to name your band after your friend and he's really into Bigfoot and you've done a Bigfoot music video with him. Then obviously you have to do an entire Bigfoot album. What you can't do, Owen, is you can't just phone it in over a weekend and just put out any old garbage because that's not up to your standards, my friend, nor is it up to our standards. So we are currently in the works, and we're not sure when it's going to be released, but sometime soon.
And I am going to be writing Bigfoot Stole My Mail 2, Bigfoot Stole My Life with Owen, and we will be filming it in 2020. That's a fact.
Really?
Yeah, I will.
Why not this year?
Well, because I haven't written the script yet.
Well, I have most of it done.
I know, but I have to put my Jon Cross stank on it. I have to get in there and really wipe myself all over it and trim it up, and then sure, if we're all available in September, I'll film it then.
All right, but I get final edit, so.
Oh, you're editing it and putting it out. I just.
I mean, on the script.
Oh no! I get final edit on the script.
No.
You get final edit on the film.
No.
You guys should fight on the episode. This is really good. I'm sure the podcast listeners love hearing you guys argue about a script that probably will never happen.
Exactly.
Oh, it'll definitely happen, Jay Mayo. Is that a gauntlet you're throwing down?
No, it's more of a ribbing you so you'll actually do it kind of thing.
Yeah, no, well, look, I'm definitely going to do it. I also have a script idea that I'm going to write that Jay Mayo and I have been talking about making a movie at Jay Mayo's house for years, and I am going to do it. I am definitely going to do it. I am going to do it. You heard it here. And I think we should all just fight and argue now for the last 30 seconds. What do you think?
Disagree.
All right, Owen, tell the listening few, and it's dwindled down to almost 3 people at this point. Probably just the 3 of us are still listening, and probably Matt Farley. That's about it. Tell us where people can find you if they so desire to do so.
I'm at Cartoon Curious on Twitter, even though I don't have Cartoon Curious podcast anymore. But, Bride of Chickenstein podcast, that's the main one. And if you're listening to this, you're probably in the movie, so Psychotronic Coast to Coast is the other podcast. That's all movie-based. And on YouTube, it's just Owen Neal, one word.
Excellent. And Jay Mayo, although you are not anymore, sadly, holding the Mayo, why don't you let the listening several know where they can find you? And if you have anything exciting in the works outside of your almost released Bigfoot album.
Well, first and foremost, John, let me say thank you for having me on this week's episode. I've been listening to the After Movie Diner podcast for longer than I could honestly imagine. But I've also listened to every single one of the Sleazy Spader Springtime episodes, and it is an honor and a privilege to be on one this year. If people want to know more about me, best thing to do is go on Twitter at @JMayo_, spell it all out, JAYMAYO_. I'm also on Instagram, same thing. You can find me there. Please check out Owen's New Best Friend. That is the band that Odilon Green and I have. You can find us on Bandcamp, Spotify, anywhere where streaming music is pretty much. You can find it there. Our latest album is called Dirty Magazines, and we will have another album out shortly. And I'd also like to thank Owen himself, because if it weren't for Owen and if it weren't for doing that Bigfoot musical and doing that Bigfoot music video that we did to accompany his musical, then Owen's new best friend would not exist. So thank you to Owen, and thank you, John, for having me.
Well, you're both very welcome. This has been decidedly average, but that's what I was going for. So, no, I'm only kidding. This has been a dream come true. If I could go back in time now and tell my 15-year-old self that 20-something odd year, 24 years later, you would be sat at a computer talking to people in a different state of America about the film Alien Hunter starring James Spader, I have to say my 15-year-old self would not believe me. So it's been a thrill. It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much. And let's do this again at some point.
Can we do it with a better movie next time?
No. In fact, I'm going to find it. I'm going to find an even worse movie next time. See, the funny thing is, and I didn't say this on the show, but the funny thing is I watched it and enjoyed it. The only thing that I hated about it was the Irish guy. Like, the rest of it was absolutely fine.
It wasn't sleazy enough. I mean, all the women wanted to fuck Spader, but at no point did Spader say anything creepy, or at no point where you're like, God damn, why did he do that? It wasn't sleazy enough for me. Yeah,
he hadn't yet got to the point where he is now when you watch him on the Blacklist, where he purses his lips all the time. He's always pouting and slithering and sucking in the air in his teeth, like that. He doesn't do that in this movie. He kind of became a caricature of himself. He's sort of become, he's sort of Goldbloomed himself at this point.
Yeah, there was at no point was I like, ooh, that's a Me Too movement kind of thing. You know what I mean? None of that happened, and I was waiting for it the whole time, because the first
you wanted
15 minutes lead you to believe oh man, this is about to get real creepy.
You wanted it to get seriously close to knuckle. Then you wanted full blown Me Too, inappropriate, leching, leering, and touching.
Yeah, well, the first 15 minutes of the movie leads you to believe oh, shit's about to go down, and then it doesn't.
That is the one disappointment of this movie. There should have been just at least one sort of weird, because they were in Antarctica, right? And it was super cold. They could have had a sex scene where they were both fully clothed or something, and that way the Sci-Fi Channel could still have shown it, as long as it wasn't too much thrusting.
They easily could have weaseled in oh no, you're going to get hypothermia, better take all your clothes off and get some of my body heat kind of thing. I mean, that would have been so easy.
It would have been so easy.
I've probably watched, I don't know, close to 200, if not 200 or more trauma movies. There is so many ways that they could have passed some sort of sex scene or nudity or whatever.
You're right.
Trauma does it in every one of their movies.
They failed.
They could have easily picked up some of that trauma audience over at the Sci-Fi Channel by putting in, I don't know, a half a nibble.
Right. I agree. Well, Owen, I'm tasking you with watching the making of, watching the extra features, and reporting back to us. Sending me an audio file before the end of May of you just telling me about the extra features on the disc. Will you do that for us?
I can try.
Great. So now you have homework. Go do that. Be gone from my Skype. Thank you so much for being on the episode. This was great. I enjoyed it. And I will talk to you both very soon. Thanks again. It has been a thrill. And we round out this week's episode with 2 tracks from James Spader's new favorite album. It's Owen's new best friends with their album Dirty Magazines. We're going to play a couple of tracks from that now. You can find this and purchase it over at owensnewbestfriends.bandcamp.com/album/dirty-magazines. Link will be in the show description on aftermoviediner.com. I urge you all to go buy that. But let's rock out right now to the smooth vocals of Mr. Jay Mayo and the musical prowess of Odilon Green, also known as Seth. I've forgotten your last name. Anyway, here comes the music.
no hips. I know you're checking out my mallet from the way you lick your lips. I can pound my own drum, beat my skins, ring my gong, but the groove is so much better when we're both thumping along. I'm gonna bang you, bang you, bang you. I'm gonna bang you like a cowbell. Set the tempo with my stick, pounding out the downbeat, coming loud and quick. You know that I can play, I'm rhythmically endowed. The rock is like thunder, you're screaming even more loud. There's a ringing in our ears, we both know what that's about. When the banging begins, you gotta let the metal out. I'm gonna bang you, bang you, bang you. I'm gonna bang you like a cowbell. Set the tempo with my stick, pounding out the downbeat, coming loud and quick. That's it, baby, you're banging just right. Let's do it, baby, we can bang all night. That's it, baby, you're banging just right. Let's do it, baby, we can bang all night. I'm gonna bang you like a cowbell. Set the tempo with my stick, pounding out the downbeat, coming loud and quick. I'm gonna bang you like a cowbell. Set the tempo with my stick, pounding out the downbeat, I'm coming loud and quick. Pounding out some girls, I'm at the gym to be seen, being watched by the girl at the thigh-squeezing machine. So I strike a pose without breaking a sweat, to make sure she knows what she sees she might get. My biceps a quiver, my abs make me shiver, my pecs pumped up stretching my skin. As I look in the mirror, it couldn't be clearer, my body's in it for the win. I flex for my girlfriend, I flex for my wife, I flex for all the special women I've known through my life. Take a look at these glutes, you can give them a squeeze, 'cause I've devoted my life to flexing for the ladies. She goes down for a squat, gym shorts tied on her rear. She knows that she's hot, her eyes pull me near. She puts on a show, I'm enjoying the view, but I think we both know she doesn't look as good as I do. I get under the bar to show her how far I can pump iron into ecstasy. I check my reflection, I gaze at perfection. I'm swole as swole can be. I flex for hot teachers, I flex for hot moms, I flex for college girls 'cause smart ladies are the bomb. I flex for ingenues, for babes in their 80s, 'cause I've devoted my life to flexing for the ladies. Here I am, here I am, look at me, hey look at me. Watch me pump, watch me strut, look at me, look at me. I'm flexing for the public, I'm flexing for the fans. If you'd like to come and watch me, I don't have other plans. I'll flex for you right now, so don't call me a tease, 'cause I've devoted my life to flexing for the ladies. I'm flexing for the ladies, I'm flexing for the men, I'm flexing for myself, I think I'm gonna flex again. There's no need to act bored, you can touch me if you say please, 'cause I've devoted my life to flexing for the ladies.